When I stood on that stage at BlizzCon and watched as the Covenants were announced, there was one thing that I said. I am never ever going to be a Night Fae. And woe betide that the one that has the most practical and efficient resource generation and weekly stuff is the Night Fae. Let's take a look. When Ardenweald came up on the beta, I logged in immediately late at night to see what this brand new zone would hold for me. Everything they had given us so far was incredible. We had been through Revendreth, which is one of my favourite zones ever. Bastion is incredible. And just going into Ardenweald, it was breathtaking. Literally breathtaking. Looking across that entire zone and seeing that wonderful tree in the background. And then its dungeons made it even better. The Mists of Turnaside is just gorgeous. It's a place you want to be in-game. Couldn't ask for more. And then we got into it. Leveling through the zone is full of the most absurd sexual innuendo all the time. It was kind of distracting, honestly, even for me. And I'm usually okay with that kind of stuff, but Ardenweald took it to a new level. If you're not stroking and caressing these giant soul bulbs, you're injecting some anima into them to power them up and fill them with juice. Within the first few minutes, you're going to be doing a mating dance with a giant bird. It's pretty on the nose. Let's put it that way. It's pretty on the nose. They knew who they were targeting with this zone. So working through it, story-wise, great. Finding out about Ysera and all the journey that she'd been on, absolutely amazing. But now we're talking about Endgame. If you get to that level 60 and you look upon the Night Fae, you're going to get the usual stuff. You're going to get an interesting transmog. You're going to get a very cool travel network called the Mycelial Network, where Chungus Fungus is going to send you off to different parts of Ardenweald in any which way you want to go, including some really secret areas that no one else can get to. This is a really cool element that doesn't really seem to be present in any of the other zones. Little bit of extra mushrooms that take you to floating islands off in the distance, coves and caves that you can't get to normally, but through the mycelial network you're going to be able to get there. So 2 thumbs up for that, for taking this idea of a quick travel system and expanding on it just that little bit more. And that's kind of the theme of Ardenweald. We often talk, and have talked over the years, about different teams being assigned different projects internally at Blizzard. We don't really know how that works, but we can feel it as players. We look at artifact weapons, for example. Some quests are really sterile and boring, and then suddenly one quest is magnificent. It's extravagant. There's so much more work gone into it. And this is the case here. In the last video of Maldraxxus, I talked about the intro to Maldraxxus. You go to Oribos, you decide you want to be part of the Maldraxxus, you'll fly down there, you get your Covenant ability and your signature ability in a kind of understated way. It's almost fitting because they are militaristic, so they're straight to the point. Yet in Ardenweald, they have easily the best introduction to joining the Night Fae ever, with a big amphitheater stage where you're going to put on a performance for all of the denizens of Ardenweald as to what happened on your planet, and they're going to laugh and joke, and it's easily the best, one of the best quests I've ever done in this game, and I'm so happy they're going to reuse that later down the line instead of it just being a dead piece of content. Luckily, it's been received so well, they're going to do much more, so 2 thumbs up for that. Now, what else is going on with the Night Fae? Well, their story involves Tyrande once you hit to level 60. What goes past that, you are going to find out what happened at Teldrassil with the souls of the people who died at Teldrassil. You're going to deal with that. But then their story takes kind of a different turn compared to the other factions. Most of the other factions' endgame stories do revolve in some way about the soulbinds. Now, Bastion has nailed this the best. There is no other covenant in this game that connects you to your soulbinds like Bastion does. This time in Ardenweald, not so much. You do meet and deal with your soulbinds briefly for the most part. You generally just going to encounter them on your journey, but when it comes to endgame, not really. What you are going to deal with is the drought, the anima drought, and if you've seen the afterlives, you'll know what I'm talking about. The groves are dying, and you need to save them, and you're going to be dealing with curses and freeing people who have been affected by stuff like this in the past, and how their souls are still tortured and they need to be dealt with. It's cool. It's very cool. It doesn't seem to fit the rest of the story, and that leads us to our other probability, is that Ardenweald's main story isn't going to happen till later in the expansion. But it's likely, if it's the same team that has dealt with this intro, has dealt with the Ysera questline, has dealt with the Tyrande questline, you're likely to be in for something pretty goddamn special if you choose the Night Fae. I would not be surprised at all if they're working on that now, while the other guys work on their zone storyline and how it marries up. So If you're into the story, it's really hard to not support being a Night Fae, because it's good. It's really good. It might not have Kael'thas, it might not have Kel'Thuzad yet, but whatever they're going to get, it's probably going to be awesome, I'm not going to lie. Let's move on to the weekly event then. This has been a big point of contention for many people when it comes to their level 60 Covenant choice. This is something you're going to want to or have to do once you hit level 60. This is something you kind of want to take part in, and they're a mixed bag. While some of them are just silly and fun, like Maldraxxus. You build your own abomination, you get some extra resources to build abominations. It's a very self-enclosed environment. The Bastion boss rush is not great. It's just the best way I can put it. It's not great. It's not quite what we were looking for, or at least what I was hoping for. Some of you might find it very fun. This time around, though, the Night Fae, practical and to the point, and interesting. This time you're going to get your own grove. Yes, you're going to get your own grove in order to rejuvenate these souls. And what that means is you get your own garden. And in this garden, they've based it a little bit off the Mists of Pandaria garden. Now, I will say this, guys. This thing is still not finished. And it's been a long time. That's why I'm making the video now, because whatever they're going to do is likely going to be something along the line of resource collection. And this is what makes this a little difficult. Let me tell you about how the garden works before I get into like how I think you're going to actually do this. So the garden has several plots similar to Mr. Pandaria where you can plant these seeds. Now these seeds are based on the different factions. So you'll have a Revendreth seed which can come in either green, blue or purple. So for a big resource, and you'll have one for all 4 factions. Now you can plant these seeds. Now what you'll see is there are little soil lines that are joining these seeds to these other different styles of plots. These are called catalysts. Now what you can do is put catalysts into these and it will join the seeds that are attached to those soil lines. And these catalysts allow you to vary up your rewards that you'll get from each of the seeds. You can have catalysts that make it go faster if you want some quicker rewards. You can have seeds that make the quality go up. So imagine enchanting materials. You can use a basic seed and you'll get basic enchanting materials. However, if you put a quality catalyst in there, you're going to get the next level up. You might move to shards, something like that. If you manage to put 2 joining catalysts, and this is where it kind of gets fun for me, is some of the soil lines join to different catalysts, then you can get double quality, which might take you up to epic style rewards. And you can plan this and maximize it as much as you like. There are other catalysts that simply increase quantity. Perhaps I'm looking for a large amount of food supplies, so I can get those things in a very large quantity, and maybe I can pair that up with another catalyst that also increases the quality. So I'm getting a large amount of good quality. Won't be the best quality, but enough to do a lot of cooking, for example, and get that profession up. And you get to pick and choose. Do you want leatherworking stuff? Do you want enchanting stuff? All that is baked into here, meaning it's a fun and useful system. Like the Maldraxxus build the abomination, it's not useful, it's fun. It's very fun. It's more fun in terms of actual just straight being silly than the Ardenweald one, but it's not useful in any particular way. Similar to the Bastion one, it's fun subjectively. Is it useful? Not particularly. The Night Fae is useful. It's less fun for some people, but I quite like planning out what I want to get. I find that really fun. I would really like to get some good quality enchanting supplies for the new stuff that's coming out, so I'm going to work towards that goal, which means I need to collect the right seeds from the right faction, I also need to get the right catalyst, and I need to plan my plots so that I get the maximum amount that I want to get out of it. I find that fun. It's not a boss rush, it's not building an abomination, but it's okay. Now, I just said this isn't finished, and this is the caveat to this, I suppose. Right now, we don't know how you get the seeds and how you get the catalysts. Now, if they follow anything like we've seen in Bastion, Maldraxxus, and Revendreth, they're going to be some sort of external farming element to it. And how bad that is, I don't know. Certainly with this one, it feels worse if you skip a week because you're just missing out on resources than it does to, say, delay building that next abomination, or to delay doing the extra stage of doing boss rush or something like that. So it's something you definitely want to be aware of, is that's going to change. It's likely to just be the same as the others, which is farming, doing world quests will naturally give you these things, in which case it should be fine. That's why I'm kind of okay talking about it, even though it's not finished, because the pattern has been similar across the board for everything else. So that's your weekly event. It's my favorite. Easily my favorite. For sure. It's not silly, but it's practical, it's useful for me, and it's kind of fun to sort it out and get it right. And when it does pay off and you get to open that big soul, then you get all these nice rewards and you plan that out. I quite enjoy that very much. So that kind of sums up the Night Fae for you. A really solid weekly quest, some great storytelling, and for many of you, very powerful spells that come along with it, including Soul Shape. Let's talk about Soul Shape for a minute. So at the beginning of the Shadowlands, we were very adamant about the Venthyr teleport, and Blizzard saw the feedback on that is like, this thing is too crazy. So they toned back the Venthyr teleport a bit, and then they buffed Soul Shape, the ability to turn into a Vulpin, and in fact comes with a whole variety of animals that you can turn into, so you can pick one to suit yourself. And on top of that, they then buffed it. They made it stronger. It now goes faster. It leaps further. You get 3 teleports while you're in Soul Shape form. It's very, very strong now. Extremely strong. Now, if you're not a high mobility class, then it's kind of a godsend. Venthyr does have some advantages, particularly that you can go vertical with it, but it's still an extremely powerful thing. If you are a high mobility class, though, then it's going to be less relevance to you, although it is kind of cute, let's be honest. Night Fae is such a mixed bag for me. I don't like any of the voice acting. I don't like any of the characters particularly. I do not like talking to Flutterby and all that kind of stuff.
I'm sorry. Did you need something? So nice to see you. You're a special one, aren't you?
It does not appeal to me at all, but I'm also someone who plays with no sound on, and therefore I can kind of ignore it for the most part, and the likelihood is, at this point, they have so many advantages seemingly over the other Covenants in terms of a main character. Not a character that I make just for fun and to goof around on, for a main character, then I'm probably okay with being Night Fae at this point. Really don't want to be, though. Thank you for listening. I'll see you again. Bye-bye.